What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Happy Memorial Day. I want to send a shout out to all of the veterans that we have that have served and protected our country and given us the freedoms that we have. Thank you so much for your service. We are all indebted to you. We have been talking about belief, guys, and how what we believe has the ability to affect our reality, the reality that we live in. And we talked a whole lot about just belief itself and placebo effect and how, the brain can tell all kinds of things to our bodies, even down to, whether to be healthy or to be sick. And we talked about how we have the ability to change our belief, but we didn't really get into it last week. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that rewiring process, the ability that we have to rewire our brain. If you picture our brain like a computer program, it's wired in a certain way, and it's been wired by all of the experiences that we've had throughout our lifetime. And some of those are good experiences, some of them are bad experiences, but ultimately they have made up kind of what we perceive about the world and our reality. And it is possible to change those beliefs, but a lot of it comes down to the habits that we keep. We get into routines and we just kind of go through the motions because that's what we do. And a lot of times we don't really even stop to think about changing the way that we think and changing the habits that we have gotten into. But when you want to talk about rewiring our operating system, that's really what needs to be done. And there's a doctor named Joe Dispenza who is just really incredibly intelligent on the subject, done a lot of research, and I wanted to show you a little thing that he has put together about rewiring the brain.
Well, a habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through repetition. A habit is when you've done something so many times that your body now knows how to do it better than your mind. So if you think about it, people wake up in the morning, they begin to think about their problems. Those problems are circuits of memories in the brain. Each one of those memories are connected to people and things at certain times and places. And if the brain is a record of the past, the moment they start their day, they're already thinking in the past. Each one of those memories has an emotion. Emotions are the end product of past experiences. So the moment they recall those memories of their problems, they all of a sudden feel unhappy, they feel sad, they feel pain. Now, how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So the person's entire state of being when they start their day is in the past. So what does that mean? The familiar past will sooner or later be predictable future. So if you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, and you can't think greater than how you feel, or feelings have become the means of thinking, by very definition of emotions, you're thinking in the past. And for the most part, you're going to keep creating the same life. So then people grab their cell phone, they check their WhatsApp, they check their text, they check their emails, they check Facebook, they take a picture of their feet, they post it on Facebook, they tweet something, they do Instagram, they check the news, and now they feel really connected to everything that's known in their life. And then they go through a series of routine behaviors. They get out of bed on the same side, they go to the toilet, they get a cup of coffee, they take a shower, they get dressed, they drive to work the same way, they do the same things, they see the same people, they push the same emotional buttons, and that becomes the routine, and it becomes like a program. So now they've lost their free will to a program, and there's no unseen hand doing it to them. So when it comes time to change, the redundancy of that cycle becomes a subconscious program. So now 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that function like a computer program. So then person can say with their 5% of their conscious mind, I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be free. But the body's on a whole different program. So then how do you begin to make those changes? Well, you have to get beyond the analytical mind, because what separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind is the analytical mind. And that's where meditation comes in, because you can teach people through practice how to change their brainwaves, slow them down. And when they do that properly, they do enter the operating system where they can begin to make some really important changes.
So essentially what he's saying is that the first time something happens to us, our mind is involved in the way that we react. Our mind makes decisions on how we react to that circumstance. But as it happens over and over again, our mind kind of gets taken out of the equation because our body remembers how to react. So it's more just muscle memory reacting to the situation without assessing the situation with our mind again to make sure that these reactions are still the appropriate reactions. And unfortunately, a lot of the times, even on the initial time, we don't really make the best choices of optimum outcome for how we react to that situation. Check this out.
People, when they have an event, what they do is they keep recalling the event, because the emotions of stress hormones, the survival emotions, are saying, pay attention to what happened, because you want to be prepared if it happens again. Turns out most people spend 70% of their life living in survival and living in stress. So they're always anticipating the worst case scenario based on a past experience. And they're literally, out of the infinite potentials in the quantum field, they're selecting the worst possible outcome, and they're beginning to emotionally embrace it with fear. And they're conditioning their body into a state of fear. Do that enough times, body has a panic attack without you. You can't even predict it because it's programmed subconsciously.
And guys, this is what's dangerous about us letting those negative mental practices continue over and over is, in our mind, when we get fixated on that negative event and we replay it over and over, our body doesn't know the difference between what's happening now and what happened in the past, and it reacts as though we are in that moment and produces those stress hormones and the fear and the anxiety. And here he talks about how our body is essentially our subconscious mind.
Your body is your unconscious mind. In a sense, if you're sitting down and you start thinking about some future worst case scenario that you're conjuring up in your mind, and you begin to feel the emotion of that event, your body doesn't know the difference between the event that's taking place in your world, outer world, and what you're creating by emotion or thought alone. So most people then, they're constantly reaffirming their emotional states. So when it comes time to give up that emotion, they can say, I really want to do it. But really the body is stronger than the mind because it's been conditioned that way. So the servant now has become the master. And the person all of a sudden, once they step into that unknown, they'd rather feel guilt and suffering because at least they can predict it. Being in the unknown is a scary place for most people because the unknown is uncertain. People say to me, well, I can't predict my future. I'm in the unknown, and I always say the best way to predict your future is to create it. Not from the known, but from the unknown. What thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? What behaviors do you want to demonstrate in one day?
And guys, this is where it becomes so important to make sure our mind is what is in the driver's seat and not just our body's muscle memory reacting. And this is what Shaun White was talking about with visualizing the success that you want to see. If you can clear your mind of the doubt and the negative thoughts, and if you can start to construct a picture of what it's going to feel like, what it's going to taste like, what you're going to be wearing, when you achieve that success, your body is going to be expectant for that success. It's going to start to produce the things that you need when you actually achieve it. And I'm going to give you an idea of how powerful your mind is of creating an environment for you to receive the things that you are after. So everybody close your eyes. Close your eyes, clear your mind, get all the thoughts out of your mind, get it nice and clear. Now I want you to picture a bright, ripe, yellow lemon. And I've got a knife here. I'm going to cut that lemon into nice wedges. I'm going to give you a wedge of that lemon. Hold it up to your nose. Smell it. Can you smell what that lemon smells like? Now I want you to put it in your mouth and suck on it. And if you have cleared your mind right, I promise you that your salivary glands in the corner of your mouth are actually working. They are expectant of that sour acidity from a lemon. And that is a simple idea of how powerful our minds are. When we visualize something, our body gets expectant to receive it. And it's the same thing with what you want to achieve in life. Check this out.
The act of rehearsing them mentally, closing your eyes, and rehearsing the action.
The rehearsing the reaction of what you want, or the action?
The action of what you want. By closing your eyes and mentally rehearsing some action. If you're truly present, the brain does not know the difference between what you're imaging and what you're experiencing in 3D world. So then you begin to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like the event has already occurred. Now, your brain is no longer a record of the past. Now it's a map to the future. And if you keep doing it, priming it that way, the hardware becomes a software program. And who knows, you just may start acting like a happy person.
And guys, I know it's not easy. The fear of the unknown, the fear of the unexpected, those are real things. But science proves that if we continually work on it, practice, visualize positive things, that the makeup of our brain actually changes. The physiology, the way our neurons connect, actually changes. We can change perspective of the way that we view life, of the way that we see our reality. And we can change it from being a negative person where I feel like I'm constantly the victim of my circumstances to being a person where I feel like I'm in control of the outcome of my life. And it is such a powerful thing when we have control of the outcome of our lives and we're not just reacting to what is happening to us. So lots to think about, guys. Hope that you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I will see you soon.